Welcome to Unwaved. In this episode, we are venturing into the shadows, exploring the chilling reality of some of the most notorious prisons worldwide. These are places where humanity is often forgotten, and survival is a daily battle. From overcrowding to gang-controlled hierarchies, we will delve into the harsh conditions that inmates endure. Buckle up, it's going to be a bumpy ride. Our first stop? Sabaneta prison in Venezuela. Stay tuned. Consider Sabaneta, a prison in Venezuela infamous for its lawlessness and overcrowding. Known for its chaotic atmosphere, Sabaneta accommodates a shocking number of 3,700 prisoners, far exceeding its 700 capacity. The prison is known for its dangerous gang-controlled hierarchy, which determines everything, even the basic necessities like water and sleeping spaces. This volatile environment breeds uncontrollable violence, leading to constant unrest and disorder within the prison walls. The horrors of Sabaneta's past are best exemplified by the notorious uprisings of 1994 and 2013. Or take Terre Haute, a prison in the United States, often referred to as Guantanamo North. This correctional facility has been at the center of numerous controversies, with human rights activists and advocates voicing their concerns. Detractors that the treatment of prisoners is inhumane and the conditions are unbearable. The prison's death row unit has become infamous for its severe and oppressive environment. Prisoners have reported persistent issues concerning their health due to inadequate medical attention and assistance. Moreover, the noise level created by the institution's operations is a constant source of distress, leading to sleep deprivation among inmates. The issues range from substandard medical care to causing sleep deprivation due to constant noise. Then there is Diyarbakir, a prison in Turkey erected in the aftermath of the 1980 political coup. This towering structure, nestled in the heartland of Turkey, casts an ominous shadow across the landscape. Notorious its chilling dark history, it is a place where humanity was often put aside. The prison became infamous for the systematic, inhumane torture and the shocking mistreatment of Kurdish inmates. This relentless abuse served to ignite a resistance flame among the Kurdish community, leading to the rise of the PKK, a formidable Kurdish militant group. In spite of several reform attempts, the prison's grim legacy endures. It remains a potent symbol of oppression. In Argentina, Mendoza prison stands out for its severe overcrowding, with 1,600 inmates crammed into a space meant for 600. This stark contrast has led to the formation of a hostile environment, a breeding ground for tension, cruelty, and despair. Each cell, designed for a single occupant, is forced to accommodate up to 3 prisoners. The overcrowded conditions have stripped the inmates of their basic human rights, pushing them towards an abyss of hopelessness and despair. The sanitary facilities are equally appalling, barely meeting the bare minimum standards. The guards, overwhelmed and outnumbered, also contribute to the horrendous environment. Reports of abuse and mistreatment, both from the guards and amongst inmates, are alarmingly common. This is not just a prison, but an emblem of the severe human rights violation. The conditions are inhumane, with both guards and inmates responsible for abuse and torture. Gladani, a prison in Georgia, has earned a grim reputation on the global stage. A place of incarceration that became infamous when disturbing footage surfaced to the public eye. The video, chillingly revealing the brutal reality behind the bars, showcased prison guards' brutality. With distressing scenes of physical assault and sexual abuse, the footage sent shockwaves worldwide. It wasn't merely the violence that struck horror in those who witnessed it, but it also alarmingly underscored the appalling living conditions. The lack of even basic medical care and unbelievably unsanitary conditions were laid bare. This highlighted issues like poor medical care and unsanitary conditions. In the Philippines, a prison shockingly overcrowded holds more than 11,500 inmates in a facility intended for 2,500. The excessive population drastically surpasses its intended capacity, creating an environment that's not only severely congested but also extremely volatile. There's an appalling lack of space, resulting in inmates being packed like sardines, a sight that would shock any onlooker. Additionally, the scarcity of guards exacerbates the situation further. It's nearly impossible for the tiny workforce to maintain control over the swelling prison populace. The dilapidated state of the infrastructure only worsens conditions. The concrete walls, once sturdy, now crack and crumble, while the sanitation facilities are in dire need of repair. This alarming situation is a humanitarian crisis. The lack of guards makes it impossible to maintain order, and the crumbling infrastructure adds to the dire conditions. Black Beach in Equatorial Guinea is known for its brutal treatment of inmates. A place notorious for its complete disregard of basic human rights, it paints a chilling picture of daily life behind bars. The prison is overtaken by a palpable sense of despair, a gloomy atmosphere that hangs over the whole prison like a death shroud. The conditions are simply appalling, a fact that becomes instantly apparent when you consider the sheer degree of overcrowding. The inmates are crammed into tiny spaces like sardines in a can, exuding a sense of misery and desperation. Disease is rampant, with prisoners falling ill frequently. Malnutrition is another substantial issue, with inmates being served inedible meals. Rampant abuse by the prison guards is a common occurrence, with the inmates being at their mercy. As if this was not enough, the prison is infested with rats, a problem that further deteriorates the already miserable living conditions. Rat infestations further deteriorate the living conditions. Nairobi Prison in Kenya, a colossal structure initially constructed to accommodate a modest 800 prisoners, has now been forced to harbor a staggering number of over 4,000 inmates. This significant increase in occupancy has led to an ominous situation of severe overcrowding. As the numbers continue to surge, the prison, designed to be a place of reform, has morphed into a breeding ground for a multitude of issues. This has given rise to rampant violence, widespread disease, and perpetual systemic abuse. These issues, penetrating the very fabric of the prison system, are alarmingly prevalent. El Rodeo in Venezuela, housing up to 50,000 criminals, is a chilling sight to behold. This place, filled to the brim with those who have found themselves on the wrong side of the law, is not a location where many would venture willingly. It is home to a staggering population, each individual carrying their own unique, often grim story. This formidable fortress, a veritable city within a city, looms large and ominous against the backdrop of the Venezuelan landscape. The population of this sprawling prison settlement comprises primarily of hardened criminals, each one far more dangerous than the next. Each day, this overcrowded institution pulsates with tension. The inmates, fraught with hatred and hostility, are involved in deadly gang wars, turning the place into a battlefield. The violence is so rampant and frequent that it has become a part of the inmates' daily life. In this grim scenario, the prison guards, who are supposed to maintain order, find themselves in a helpless situation. They are heavily outnumbered, and often their authority is boldly challenged. They are tasked with controlling the uncontrollable, facing an uphill battle. The prison, in effect, is ruled by the inmates, with their own twisted laws and rules. The environment is so volatile that chaos is the norm and calm days are few and far between. El Rodeo in Venezuela, rife with gang wars and violence, is beyond the control of prison guards. And finally, Camp 22, a grim testament to North Korea's severe penal regime, where voicing criticism against the ruling power could result in an unending punishment. Situated in the heart of North Korea's wilderness, this camp is a chilling symbol of the country's relentless pursuit to suppress freedom of speech. Lives here are dictated by an unforgiving regime that tolerates no dissent. The inmates, often arrested for minor infractions, are subjected to a life devoid of any dignity or humanity. They're compelled into grueling physical labor, serving as mere cogs in the machine that fuels North Korea's strict totalitarian regime. Their days are filled with incessant toil, unimaginable hardship, and a constant fear of repercussions for the slightest of missteps. Despite the international outcry against such human rights violations, Camp 22 continues to stand, a stark reflection of the regime's deep-rooted brutality. It's a place of severe brutality and forced labor. These prisons are a stark representation of complex problems and human rights dilemmas that plague penal systems globally. The state of these facilities underscores the pressing necessity for introducing reforms and upholding human worth, even amidst incarceration. It is crucial to comprehend the sheer magnitude of this predicament and the urgency it warrants. So what's the course of action? Backing prison reform measures is a start. Championing improvements in living conditions, healthcare, and rehabilitation schemes is another step. Using our voices to shed light on human rights violations can make a noticeable difference. Let's not forget that the ultimate goal of incarceration is to rehabilitate, not to punish. We must remember that reform starts at the grassroots level and grows with collective effort and unified voices. Change commences with us, and the value of every single voice cannot be underestimated.